Save the Semantics, episode 96. It is December 25th, 2019. My name is Myro. This is the podcast where I ramble on about things that don't matter to most people, but kind of matter to me. It's Christmas Day. Merry Christmas to everyone out there that celebrates. End of the year's coming up real fast. This might be the last episode of the year, for all I know. Decided to record today. Wanted to get in a little something before the rain came in. I'm probably going to be kind of busy tomorrow, so just wanted to get some of my thoughts out there for whatever that I might have in mind, things off of my chest, maybe. I don't know. I don't really know. It's been an alright week, I'd say so. Last week was kind of nice, just taking some time off. I guess this week has been sort of taking time off as well. What day is it today? Today is Wednesday. Christmas Day, as I said. Yeah, I'd say right now it's about 12 o'clock. Had a nice little Christmas morning, nothing too crazy, just spend time with the family and all that. It's going to be interesting. What's going to be interesting? I don't know. I'm just talking out of my ass. No, I think we're going into the new decade, 2020. Doesn't really feel like it. I think when it was like 2010, it felt like it had more significance. I think maybe because I was younger and like that kind of thing was a little more like cool, I guess. It's when I was more excited for like Christmas and things. I think like once I hit like, I don't know, I've probably mentioned this, but I think once I hit like maybe 15, I think Christmas started to become less, I don't know, not necessarily less important, but just like less exciting. That's just how it is. Nothing too crazy. As you get older, things kind of are of less importance. And I don't really want too much either. Like I don't really care that much for gifts. I think that's the one thing that's going to be kind of interesting. It's like when I get older, it's like who should I give gifts to, right? Like if I'm with like a significant other, then yeah, probably. But and I guess my parents and stuff. Like right now, I don't really have that much of an obligation. Like, or like, I don't really have that much. I don't really need to consider purchasing things all that much, you know. But in the future, I'm not sure. Like I think I have to kind of like think about who I should give things to, because like I don't really gift things with my friends, like even on like their birthdays and stuff. Like we don't really do that a whole lot anymore. So yeah, I don't know. I think it's and I honestly I was thinking that I might be working today, and I didn't really mind at all. You know, I think there's just less spirit, maybe. Not really, not necessarily less spirit. I think I just don't stress as much importance on the holidays as I used to, obviously, because, you know, I'm getting older and stuff. But I think in general, I think it's, I just don't think it's worth stressing over stuff like that. This year was pretty easy in terms of what I should get, you know, and who I should get it for. It was really just primarily my parents, so that was kind of nice. And also just, I don't know, I think like I'm not religious either, so there's really not that aspect to it either. There's not really the, Christian Christmas aspect to it. Like I was never really religious, but I think that whole thing was really, you know, it was never, like, again, it was really never really a part of my life either, so I don't really consider that to be of too much importance, I guess. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm Japanese, so the thing that we kind of place importance on is New Year's. That's sort of that's like the main big tradition that the Japanese hold kind of hold of like pretty big importance. Just like the opening of the new year. Not in terms of just like resolutions and that kind of thing. Of course, that sort of ties into it as well. But there's also kind of the spirituality aspect to it. It's a of course it's a cultural and like a customary thing that sort of takes into account both like Buddhist practices and Shinto practices. Like I was talking to my mom a little while back, and she was mentioning how like Shinto is sort of the primary religion in Japan, and so they kind of borrow a lot of that and into their traditional practices and sort of the prayer, I guess. It's not really. I don't know. I don't think, based on my very kind of surface level look at Japanese like customs and cultures and stuff like that. Of course, I've like when I went there a while back, I was there for New Year's, and we did some traditional things like going to a shrine and sort of praying to gods, sort of the spirits, I guess. I don't really know how else to put it. And then sort of wishing for good luck and that kind of thing. But just outside of that and this sort of my surface level understanding, it's like, where was I going with this? I was talking about, what was I talking about? Sort of how you use it to incorporate it into daily lives, blah, 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 blah. So, based on my surface level understanding, in Japan, like, religion isn't as big of, like, a thing. Like, it's not really, it doesn't really seem like a lot of religious, not dichotomy, but a lot of religious, rules and then sort of, what is it? It's not it's not like over here where a lot of religious laws are kind of incorporated into our own like laws and stuff like that. Like a lot of, you could argue that a lot of like politicians and stuff kind of base their moral judgment on their religious beliefs. And of course you could argue that some of that is present in Japanese government, but I think it's less so. Like it's not as prevalent. Like if you go to Japan, like it's not really like you don't really see a lot of churches. Like around here, there's like a ton of churches. Like even for a small town and area where I live, there's like 6 different churches. But in Japan, there's like designated areas for shrines and that kind of thing. And that's not to say that there aren't Christians or Muslims or other religions. It's just they're not very prevalent or present. And I think that when it comes to practicing certain cultural practices, like it's on specific times of the year, and that's especially like during the New Year. So yeah, it's interesting for sure. So every New Year we do just kind of like a little something. Usually it's related to food. There's not really a shrine around here, I don't think. There might be. It's like in somewhere in sort of like the Silicon Valley area. I'm not sure. I know there's like Japantown and stuff like that, so there might be like a shrine or something like that. But yeah, I'm not really sure. So that's just kind of, that's like the closest thing that I do that's even remotely religious. Again, we don't celebrate Christmas as a religious holiday. It's just much more just the capitalist and consumer holiday. New Year's is kind of where it's at in terms of faith, I guess, and sort of faith and pursuing new things, I guess. I'm not really sure. I can't speak right now. I don't know why I decided this would be a good time to record, but it's still cold out. It's gonna rain. At least that's what the weather says. It's gonna rain about an hour or so. So I just kind of wanted to get out here and do a little recording. It's peaceful out. I'm surprised there aren't as many people out and about. I usually try to pick somewhere where I'm kind of by my lonesome, where I can just kind of record. I've had moments where I was just kind of talking and then just people have walked by. I don't really care that much, but it's just kind of funny seeing their reactions, just sort of me talking about. I guess it's not that crazy because a lot of people just kind of record themselves, whether it's like vlogging and that kind of thing. I don't know. Do people still vlog? Like, do people, just like regular people, vlog just for the hell of it? I'm not sure. I feel like that was kind of like a trend back in like 2015, 16 or something like that a few years ago. I don't really know how much of a thing that is. Interesting, I guess. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that like maybe it's not as profitable nowadays, just due to like how YouTube works and that kind of thing. It's kind of it's interesting to see just all of the trends that go through, just based on how like YouTube's algorithm works and just how people's just tastes kind of change over the years and that kind of thing. So I don't know. I'm not really sure. I'm just kind of guessing and assuming. I'm not really basing this off of any research or anything like that. Yeah. Considering that this might be the last episode of the year, should we talk some resolutions maybe? I'm not really sure. I feel like I'm like in a kind of a similar position as I was last year. Kind of. Of course there's going to be new things on the horizon and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, for the next expect the next 3 episodes of me just talking about resolutions in the next year. Even when it's already January, I'm going to be like, this year I'm going to do this. Well, next year I'm going to do this. I'm just going to be looking forward to these kinds of things. It's the same shit all the time. I don't have a whole lot of talking points, I guess. In terms of resolutions, I don't know. I think it's an interesting thing, I guess. I'm always trying to be like, put it into perspective that it's not really, I shouldn't, because it's the next year I should make these changes. I always try to take into perspective that I should just continuously seek changes to better myself in a way, I guess. Not really base it off of a specific date or time change or anything like that. But I think it's good to have goals, right? Yeah, I think that's like a good thing to have. I don't really know. I think that obviously graduate, that's a big one. And then again, try to work out more. I think this quarter, I say this again, I think this quarter I'll have some time to go to the gym and whatnot, hopefully the rain doesn't fuck up my schedule like that, because then I'm just like not motivated at all. I think it's just a pain in the ass to haul my ass to the gym, get soaked, go back to my car and like have a bunch of wet clothes. It's just not worth the time and that effort for me anyways. I'd rather be dry and warm instead of wet, miserable, and maybe fit, but still wet and miserable. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I always have that at the back of my mind. If I have the time, then I should. Like, I think I should really kind of build up some kind of schedule or some kind of routine, just so I can kind of stay in shape. I think I've done an okay job. I mean, recently it's really only been like once a week where I've ran or whatever, so not great. Hopefully I can bump that up a little more. But yeah, I have a bit of time. I'm gonna see what I can do with the time that I have next quarter. Maybe, I don't know, I've thought about like volunteering and stuff like that. I just don't know where to put that time. It's just kind of, yeah, it's weird. I don't know. I'm just kind of pondering. But yeah, that's something, I guess. I'll have more to talk about in terms of like what I want to do within the next few months or so. Probably on the next episode. I've been kind of just hanging out, just chilling. I've been working, I've been keeping busy and stuff like that, but also just outside of that, I've just been kind of relaxing, just watching YouTube, Netflix, the whole ordeal. I started writing again. I started journaling again. I don't know. I think I was just kind of like motivated to do that because like at work I have some downtime, and when I do, I try to like put some thoughts down on paper. Last episode I had that whole fucking shenanigans where where I was just talking about some of my old ideas that I had, albeit probably terrible ideas, but just kind of fun little ideas that I kind of wanted to flesh out a little bit, just a little bit. I don't know if that's really anything extensive there. But yeah, I decided to start journaling again. I think it's different from this. This is just kind of me blabbering on about shit. And this is not, like, what I talk about on the podcast is not really that great to, like, write down, I guess. I think it's just too much shit to, like, filter through. I think when I write, I want it to be a lot more specific and a lot more, I guess, intimate, I guess. Like, I don't really, as I mentioned before, I'm still pretty reserved. Like, I do talk about stuff on here, but I still don't really go super in depth. Like, I just don't really feel like this is like the place for that. So I decided to kind of start writing just yesterday, like just writing down some stuff that I may want to just get off my chest that I can't really do so in another like medium or another setting. Just, I don't know, I feel like I used to like journal a lot more. I've talked about this before. I started like just writing down daily entries like way back. I think it was like sometime in elementary. I was looking back on it yesterday, and it was just kind of funny just seeing what I wrote down like way back, like several years ago. It was like I feel like my writing's gotten worse too, just like looking at it. So that's something, I guess. That's another reason to continue writing, is to work on my penmanship and my writing, I guess. Just my writing style in a sense. Yeah, I don't know. It's just I felt like it was something that would be good. You know, if I have the time, I should like continue to write. I don't know about daily, but like just like on the off chance where I need to kind of just splurge and just kind of put stuff down. In a much more like concise manner than what this is. This is just you know, unfiltered and just a bunch of bullshit. Not really anything crazy. So yeah, that's kind of something that I've thought of doing. I guess that's something that I'll carry on next year as well, just to continue on with like a routine, I guess, to just kind of manage things. Just kind of more things to reflect on, in a sense. So, and also just because, I don't know, now that I sort of have an idea of what I want to do for work, that I have sort of a potential job in the near future, I feel like I still kind of want to have a creative outlet, even if even if I'm not necessarily creating, you know, stories and whatnot. I still kind of want to like produce something. Whether it's this podcast, even if I continue to say that it's kind of nonsense, like I still want to put something out there, like even if it's just for me, just so that I can have kind of that creative output in a sense, and maybe that'll inspire me or like motivate me to like actually make something, maybe like a short story or something along those lines. I think because like I've wanted to be like a writer in the past, and I still enjoy writing. It's just that I think that it's sort of hard to figure out how I can tie that in with like a career in that sort of sense, you know. Obviously, because there's not really, it's difficult to make money off of that, and also just because like I have no idea what exactly I want to write, you know. So I think just having that as like a kind of like a hobby would be kind of nice, just so I can carry on what I've wanted to do in the past, and still sort of have that kind of passion, you know. I don't know how passionate I am about writing, but I want to kind of get back into it a little bit, just so I still have that as something that I can something that I can do. I just don't want to like, I try to be conscious of the fact that I don't want to just be like a consumer, you know, not to be all, you know, philosophical, but I guess that's kind of what this has devolved into. But I just don't want to be like taking in stuff without putting something out there. Just like I don't want to be, I just don't want to, the only thing I just don't want to be doing is I just don't want to be watching stuff or playing stuff or whatever. I want to just put something out there that's of my own effort and my own creative output and stuff like that. So that's something that I've been kind of thinking about moving forward. And yeah, I don't know. I think it's just like I still like during class and stuff. If if I'm just kind of bored of a subject, I'll sometimes jot down like an idea. But it doesn't really come of anything of fruition or anything like that. I just something to have down, just something to put out there, I guess. So yeah, that's sort of what I've been doing in terms of consuming stuff. Though, I watched this new Netflix animation that others have recommended called Klaus. It's like cell shade 2D, 3D animation. It's sort of like a hybrid of those two. And it's essentially it's sort of like a Christmas story, but it's in a very different kind of manner. There's a little twist to it, and I kind of enjoyed it. I think that I've kind of missed watching those kinds of movies. I've missed watching animations like that. I mean, I watched Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse a while back, but I sort of missed the joy of watching like an animated movie. So I had a lot of fun watching that yesterday. Essentially, it's about a mailman who he's like spoiled. Well, like I guess I gotta set up the story first, but like essentially, it's like in a world where there's like this academy or whatever of like postmen, and this one kid is like his father is like the postmaster or something like that. But he's spoiled and he doesn't really have a whole lot of discipline, and so he sends him off to this one place to establish a post office, but the town or whatnot is very like kind of grim and like there's like two warring families or two warring like sides of the city, and so what is like he has to like maneuver that, and then also he runs into like a big bearded fellow whose name is Klaus, and then they kind of do a little thing together, and you can kind of guess where it's going. He delivers mail, and he's sort of the Santa figure. And yeah, it's a good time. I'd recommend it. I think it's like it's a solid kids movie too. I think the few criticisms that I have, I guess it's sort of difficult to really develop all these characters. I don't really think you really have to. I think there's a bit, it's a bit jumpy in some of the pacing. Like it kind of jumps around from scene to scene a little bit, which is fine. Like I think it keeps a kid's attention for sure, but I felt like they didn't really stick with each scene for super long. I don't know. That was just sort of my reaction to it. Also, the couple of the songs that came in felt a little out of place for like the montages and stuff. I felt like it just kind of came a little out of nowhere. But outside of that, it's a solid movie. And I had some fun watching it. And what else have I been doing? I've been watching My Hero Academia. I've been watching that just episode by episode. It's been pretty good so far. I think the series does like a good job of kind of managing all these different characters, not taking itself too seriously. I think it's a fun time. There's not too much of an expectation. I think the music definitely lends itself to the series. And just overall, it's a pretty well made anime, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm not sure how many episodes this season is gonna have, so I'll have to kind of look into that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I haven't really watched anything. I watched. Did I talk about Knives Out? I think I did. I think I talked about it last episode, and that was a fun movie experience. And outside of that, I wanted to watch Parasite. It's a bit too late now. I think they just moved it out of theaters, and so now I have to wait until it gets released on some streaming platform, or maybe I'll just rent it off of like Amazon or something like that. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this episode. Merry Christmas to everyone out there, and if I don't see you within the next week or so, Happy New Year's, and I will see y'all, whoever you may be, in 2020. This has been Save the Semantics. This has been Save the Semantics, signing off.